and we appreciate the fact that you are here with us to learn about this very interesting topic, which is energy efficiency. And we have a very seasoned guest speaker for today. Her name is Mrs. Allwell Kedo Osariere. She's a principal research officer at the National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Na. I welcome you once again to the webinar. So I'll be talking on introduction to the first FEL, energy efficiency and conservation. So without taking most of our time, let's just go to the introduction. And my name once again is Kedo Allwell. I'm a principal research officer from the National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation. So next slide, please. To the outline. So in the outline, I have, I'm going to ask you some few questions, then the objective of this webinar. Then we'll talk about the introduction, the importance of energy efficiency, major impact areas. Then I also mention energy conservation. Then we end. So how much do you spend on energy in a month? So that's the question for us. How much do you spend on energy in a month? Is there any light, air conditioner, TV on in any space that is not occupied at the moment? So who is the energy manager in your home, in your office, or business area? Do you know the government agency with the mandate for energy efficiency in Nigeria? Please, can somebody just tell me that? The government agency with the mandate for energy efficiency in Nigeria.
That's where you work from. You work now. So you
Who are
just
not
mentioned the place. Now. That's
okay.
the that's where you work.
Yeah, good to know that the government agency with the mandate for energy efficiency in Nigeria is National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation, which is under the Energy Commission of Nigeria. So the objectives of the seminar will understand what energy efficiency is and why it is called the first fuel. So we are going to learn practical examples of how energy efficiency can reduce energy use and save cost. We also explore the role of energy efficiency in achieving sustainability and climate goals. So, introduction, please. Energy efficiency is often called the first fuel. Why? Because it is highly cost-effective way to reduce energy consumption, and it is associated with cost, while also benefiting the environment and enhancing energy security. We also know that energy efficiency cuts across buildings. When I say buildings, commercial buildings, residential buildings, transportation and industries. You may as well know that buildings are the largest end users of energy globally, and they account for about 40% of the world's end use of energy, and about 40% energy wastage take place in buildings as well. So this energy wastage is mainly due to the use of inefficient technologies. So as we'll be moving on in this topic, we'll discover some technologies or equipment that are not energy efficient. Despite several opportunities that abound in the end use of energy technologies, many countries, including Nigeria, have undermined the benefits of energy efficiency for economic and sustainable development. So what is energy efficiency? So energy efficiency is the use of technology to reduce energy consumption without reducing comfort. What do I mean by that? For example, if you are using a 60 watts incandescent lamp, for example, and then you decide to replace it with an energy efficient one, like the LED bulb of 14 watts, you will discover that the LED bulb of 14 watts can, do the work the 60-watt bulb is doing of an incandescent lamp. The luminaire, almost the same, the illumination level, the glaring and everything. So instead of wasting energy by using the 60-watt bulb, why don't you go for the LED bulb, which has a lower consumption? So energy efficiency is used to measure performance of process, and it is considered first world because it is the most readily available and cheapest option to meet energy needs before exploring other energy sources. What do I mean by that? Before you decided to set up an hydro power station, before you decided to set up a mini grid, maybe a solar mini grid, which are capital intensive, you can as well consider energy efficiency, replacement of lamp, retrofitting and others. That's why it's readily available and it is always the cheapest option. So that's why it's called the first fuel. The International Energy Agency, IEA, has highlighted the importance of energy efficiency as a key strategy for addressing energy challenges, even when referring to it as the world's first fuel. They have shown that in many cases, the energy saved through energy efficiency measures surpasses the output of any other single fuel source. So why is energy efficiency important? Number one, cost effectiveness. Energy efficiency improvements like better insulation or more efficient lamp, as I've emphasized, often have lower upfront costs than building new power plants or sourcing new fossil fuels. Then abundance. Discover that many existing buildings, industry and processes are not optimized for energy use. It means that there is a vast potential for energy gains without needing to invest in new energy sources. The third one, reduced energy demand. By using less energy to achieve the same output, energy efficiency directly lowers the overall demand for energy, making it easier to manage existing resources. So by using these energy efficient technologies, we discover that energy is readily available also to places where they don't have energy. So by the time you use it, we have enough energy. So that will also reduce the energy demand. So we also have environmental benefits. So when you reduce energy consumption, it translates to lower greenhouse gas emissions, helping us to combat climate change. Greenhouse emissions like carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and so on and so forth. So another importance is that it enhances energy security. By reducing reliance on imported fuels, energy efficiency can improve a country's energy security. Then economic competitiveness. It reduces energy costs and make businesses more competitive and also improve their profitability. So we are going to look at some practical examples using a typical building. So in doing that, we'll be considering 3 major impact areas in building. So when we are building a house, you consider the building design, the appliances you are going to use within the building, then the energy users. That's our behavioral pattern in using energy. So in considering energy efficient building design, some factors can be considered: the orientation, the shading, landscaping, daylighting, ventilation, then the building envelope. So in Nigeria, we know that cooling and lighting appliances are the main contributors to energy demand in buildings. So we have our lighting, the air conditioner, which is the HVAC, then our office equipment, and the home appliances. So when we talk about energy efficient lighting, we can see from this drawing that we have 3 types of bulbs. We have the incandescent bulb, we have the compact fluorescent lamp, and the LED lamp. So we have to know how our lighting, we can use our lighting appliances, how they can be efficient using the efficient ones. So we know normally that the incandescent lamp rating, the major ones that we have in Nigeria, they are like 60 watts. So we are comparing with the CFL of 14 watts and LED of 8 watts. So the daily energy for 8 hours, let's say that energy is being consumed, for instance, in an office. Most offices operate in 8 hours on daily basis. So that's why I considered 8 hours. So this means that 80 times 60 will give us 480 watt hours. So the number of bulbs that I'm going to consider for each is 100. Then we can see the average lifespan of these lamps. The average lifespan of the incandescent bulb is about 1,200 hours. That of CFL is 8,000 hours. Then 25,000 hours for LED. So it means that the LED lamps even last longer. So before you say you can replace an LED lamps, you can use it for a very long time, as long as 13 years. Then the CFL too, as long as 4 years. But within few months, our incandescent lamp can just blow off. Then the energy efficient lamps, they have a way of sustaining power surge, unlike the incandescent lamp. So I'm going to consider the daily energy cost of 209 naira per kilowatt hour for 2024. So the annual estimate energy cost for an incandescent lamp using this rate of 209 naira per kilowatt hour will give us 3,661,680. So, and if we are considering the CFL, the annual estimate energy cost at the end of the day will give us 843,000 naira 150. Then using the CFL lamp, we have 677,440 naira. So apart from having a very longer lifespan, you can see that the LED lamp, using it, you still consume less energy, then you're also saving bills. So you can imagine the difference between the LED, the cost annually that you'll be using when you are using LED compared to incandescent bulb. Now I'm silent on CFL because the mercury content in CFL has been proved that it is hazardous. So that is why LED is still the best to use. So another way we can save energy in our building with the lighting option, apart from using the energy efficient lamp, you can also use a motion or occupancy sensors. So these sensors helps to reduce the time of usage of light bulbs by cutting off the supply when no one is in the room. Some of us, even at home and in office, when we leave the room at times or when we leave our offices, we forget to put off the lights. So it doesn't make any sense that the light is on when you are still in the room. So for such cases, by the time the sensor notices that nobody is inside the office or apartment, the light goes off. So having a motion or occupancy sensor is a very important thing as well. It's a way of also reducing consumption. Then we have dimmer controls as well. So these dimmers, they help to reduce the amount of power supply to bulbs in order to minimize or maximize daylighting. So, and apart from the dimmers, the energy is already reduced, you understand, to give room to daylighting. And you can as well switch it off in the night time. For those of for the residential building, you can decide to dim your lights during the hours of sleep, or you switch it off. So all these things, they help in reducing energy consumption and making more energy available. So another one is the HVAC, that's the air conditioning. From the energy efficiency of an air conditioner is measured by the energy efficiency ratio, and normally is calculated from what I have here. So assuming there is a nameplate of a Panasonic air conditioner, for instance. So energy efficiency ratio is measured by cooling capacity divided by the rated power input. So you can see this on the nameplate, and by the capacity is 5,000. Then the rated input, we have 1,550. So this gives us a 3.33 energy efficiency ratio. So how does it affect the appliances? Because for some countries, the energy efficiency ratio of 3.3, I think, lies between 4-star or 3-star. So for a particular country like Nigeria now, it can lie within a range of 4-star. So that means it is efficient enough. So because of the time, I won't be able to dwell on that. So energy efficiency, office equipment and other appliances. So common electrical loads in the offices like the desktop, the printers, the laptops, respirators, scanners, photocopiers, your fan, your electric kettle, your hot water heater, and so on. So they are usually on for most of the day. So using energy efficient version of these appliances help in reducing energy costs and wastage, because the obsolete ones, they cost more and they consume more. But when you use these energy efficient versions, they help in reducing energy costs and also wastage. So a quick glance at minimum performance standards and labels. You can watch out for all these labels when when you are buying your appliances in the market. We have the Nigerian one, mostly 4-stars. So they help us they guide us on the kind of equipment we buy in the market. So when you notice all these labels, that means that equipment is energy efficient. So the first one there is the Nigerian Energy label. So we have the Energy Star label. They are also common, very, very common. Then the European Union label, they are like the barcodes there. So energy conservation. When somebody will, you are expecting somebody will turn the light, your AC off, but what if they don't show up? Then you need to take responsibility. So the building users, that is we that are using the buildings, we are the one that will now conserve this energy. So it's our behavioral approach towards energy reduction by switching off electrical loads as against hibernating when going home. So not just switching off these loads, you can unplug them, because sometimes when you switch them off, there are still some powers that enters into those gadgets. So you can as well um, unplug them. But when you just want to run a short distance, you can just hibernate. So you are also reducing consumption in that process and wasting energy. So you can turn off your air conditioners when the outside temperature is cooler than inside. Like what we have now, the weather is cool enough outside. So you can decide to turn off your cooling gadgets. So you can put off lights to maximize daylighting when not in use. Carry out regular energy conservation awareness. Tell people around you, what do they know about conserving energy? Sometimes in Nigeria, we do think that, oh, you see a lot of people wasting energy in the market and everything. You say you are using prepaid meter, it doesn't affect you. But it affects those ones not using prepaid meter. They can as well, like, okay, and since I'm being given estimated bill, it will continue to waste the energy. But the energy, the meter from the transformer is also reading. But if you tell your neighbor, don't put on your light, and he's aware that by not putting on his light, the meter at the transformer end will definitely reduce in reading. So it goes in your favor as well. So we should try and do regular energy conservation awareness. So see something, take action, and say something. Don't just keep mute. So I'll be talking about some interventions in procurement. In procuring office equipment, especially the electrical appliances, they should be carried out jointly with the electrical or technical department unit representative in order to specify the energy efficient parameters for such equipment. So most of us have the procurement unit in our organization. So we can make use of the technical heads, the technical unit. They can intervene by giving the parameters for such equipment to make them efficient. So energy efficiency can also be included as a compulsory clause in requests for proposals. Then selection criteria during procurement bids. So intervention in lighting, retrofit to energy efficient lighting. If you are still having these inefficient lamp, please, you can change them. So it is noted that energy efficient lights produces less heat and also reduce the need for cooling. Making maximum use of daylighting while avoiding excessive solar heat gain. Then using light controls in order to minimize energy wastage, like I've explained earlier. Then we can also clean our luminaires, then do group relamping. Then in the cooling aspect, we can decide to install efficient air conditioning and minimize use of units only at odd times of the day and year. Air conditioners are not necessity at every hour of the day, irrespective of their season. So in buildings that allow for natural ventilation, windows can be opened. You can reduce internal heat gains and then the lighting loads. For those who love to have a cup of tea or coffee in the morning, or perhaps a big bowl of eba later in the day, make sure you are using energy efficient electric kettles, or you boil the right amount or quantity of water that you need. So also we have intervention in our water supply. We know that water is available for our daily use in our homes, offices, schools, and businesses and public institutions. So you can use tanks to electrical pumps. So electrical pumps require electrical energy to be able to get water from the ground into the tank for our use. Purchasing only energy efficient electrical pumps means that they will use less energy to pump the water we require for our daily needs. And these energy efficient pumps can also pump water faster. So aside from using energy efficient electrical pumps, water consumptions can also be managed using the low flow taps, then the dual flush systems for those of us in the M&E, especially the mechanical aspect. So water also can be recycled and reused for flushing, for watering plants. We can also harvest rainwater to be used to satisfy some own needs as well. This harvesting of rainwater in those days is done mostly in villages. You see, they will build up a kind of well where um, they save this water in case they can't go to the streams, or later in the future when the streams are dry. So they always fall back on this rainwater. So we can also do that. For sustainability, set up an energy policy for your home, your organization, or your business. Enlighten staff, increase awareness about the energy efficiency, appoint and train an energy manager. You should also schedule maintenance that should be adopted and adhered to strictly. You can adopt the ISO 50002 energy management system principles. So we have tools for designing energy efficient buildings. So considering the whole building design tools, you can use the antenna for those of us in the IT, and Green Building Studio, EcoBat, IES virtual environment. So for energy efficiency tools, the software are the eQuest, Energy Plus, Design Builder, Passive House Planning Package. So why is energy efficiency called the first well again? Before we burn that gas or coal, the cleanest energy is the one we never need to use, and that is energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is the first world because it powers progress without pollution. Now we have the electric vehicles, so we don't need your fossil fuels to bring out all these gas, and we don't need to inhale because all these gas, they are also hazardous to our health. But cheap and it is always available. Reflection and discussion. What is the current situation? What do you think can be done to improve energy use in your own building? What are your energy efficiency goals? So you can consider within the next 3 months, next year, next 3 to 5 years, what do you intend to achieve with your building or offices? How do you begin to fund energy efficiency projects in your organization? What low-hanging fruits can be achieved with minimal financial commitment? So what reward do you think you will achieve first? So that's the end. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Chimobi, for more and questions. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Chimobi.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Kedo Osariere, Principal Research Officer at the National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation. Thank you for your very insightful presentation. Um, I think in summary, I would say that we call energy efficiency the first floor because it is always available. We don't have to build power plants or anything to have it. All we need to do is just to properly manage whatever we have, and then we will be able to have energy for others to use. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the insights you have given to us in summary around how we can use energy efficient technologies like replacing our light bulbs from incandescent to LEDs, and replacing our inefficient air conditioners to efficient ones, and all the conservation techniques that we can possibly use to save energy. And of course, we hope that everyone here has the chance to take with them the learnings from this presentation, apply it in their homes, in their organizations, in their businesses, and also educate others about why we need to save energy, we need to invest in energy efficient technologies, and why we need to keep doing this together as the people within Nigeria to ensure that we have a very sustainable energy system within our own country. So thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. The floor is open to anyone who has any questions from this presentation. You can raise up your hand or you can also just send a message. Okay, so Mr. Babatunde Adebi, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to be part of this insightful knowledge sharing session. Thank you for that. Um, okay, mine is I'm more concerned about the air conditioning aspect because that's my area of specialization, and we have been looking at other ways of trying to see how we can reduce the energy usage to the barest minimum, even if we cannot um, we cannot take the emission aspect, but at least it can be reduced up to a level that works um, with the standard. Okay, so we have always been advocating for a situation where we use electricity and also the use of probably the use of renewable energy to power buildings, and then looking at renewable energy powering buildings, it's kind of cumbersome when we talk about powering your air conditioners, especially when you have more than one, two, three, or four ACs in your building. So we are looking at a way where we can use gas to power our air conditioners. We have now available in the market, not in Nigeria, but I mean in other parts of the world where we have gas powered air conditioners. They are actually VRF system. VRF system talks about one outdoor powering more than three, four, five, up to 48 indoors. So, or even more than that, depending on the combination you can do. So, in that aspect, I would love the organization to take a look at this area again if it's something that can be explored in Nigeria, because we have gas in abundance, and in all those countries where you have gas in abundance, they always want to use their gas and make sure it's serve economic, it becomes an economical value to the country. So if that's just my own contribution, if it can be explored. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Babatunde Adebi, for the beautiful contribution, and of course, it's good that you have also used this medium to, you know, inform us about the VRF gas-powered air conditioners, even though it's not yet available in Nigeria. I think the National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation would reach out to you and probably have a discussion with you about carrying out research on this, see how best we can develop something indigenous, learn about what is available elsewhere, and see how we can create something for Nigeria since we have gas in abundance. So thank you very much. They will reach out to you. Please just drop your email in the chat box, and somebody within the center will reach out to you to collaborate. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Next question, Engineer Eguma Charles Asira. Over to you, please.
All right, thank you very much. I assume everyone can hear me. Please, am I being heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Kedo, for your insightful presentation. My name is Charles Eguma. In the course of your presentation, somewhere along the line, you did mention the energy efficiency ratio, which is the ratio between the cooling output to the input. So mine is not a question per se. I just wanted to chip in a bit of information. Previously in Nigeria, we were working with the energy efficiency ratio, which is the EER, and this is contained in standards that have been developed by the Standards Organization of Nigeria. But just recently, the Energy Commission of Nigeria, together with the United Nations Environmental Program, under the National Cooling Project, have been able to revise those standards. That's in collaboration with SON. So what we have now for the MEPS, that's the minimum energy performance standards for air conditioners. In that standard, we no longer use the EER. Rather, what we are now talking about is the SER, which is the seasonal energy efficiency ratio. So I thought I needed to mention that so people are aware that we've moved from the EER to now using the seasonal energy efficiency ratio, even though the standard is not yet fully implemented, but that's the direction that we are going moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eguma Charles Asira, for also that very important piece of information. So, like you have said, Nigeria has recently approved the seasonal energy efficiency ratio that should be effective from December 2026. So, hopefully, we'll have another session where we can give more information about what this new seasonal energy efficiency ratio is and what to look out for going forward in the future. So thank you very much, um, Charles, for this very important piece of information for everyone on the webinar. Thank you. So I see Kelvin Grubaye. The floor is yours, please. You can open your mic.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much to our presenter. I was really much impressed with the presentation. My name is Kelvin Grubai. I noticed I'm the only Liberian or maybe different national. I'm seeing a lot of Nigerians in the house. So it's a pleasure to really be part of this knowledge sharing discourse. I have two concerns, and then the first one has to do with the first one is a bit high level. From the presentation, I understand that the intervention in terms of energy efficiency outline is being pressure on users, maybe our occupancy level in office or in the household. But then I want us to see how we can draw some cost benefit to our power, supplier. It could be the national grid company or so. How do we, inform our supplier of electricity the importance of energy efficiency on their network? And then, because the issue is, if we are saying we should manage supply, we are also reducing, costs that should be paid to the utility company. And they are in the business of making money from whatever they are producing as electricity to the market or to the user. So I don't know, how do we draw some, cost benefit towards power supplier and the usage? And then the second concern has to do with the use of the energy efficiency coefficient and other standardized metrics outlined by the presenter. You were able to cross-check appliances with these standardized metrics. So is there a way we can also cross-check? Maybe in a month time in my house, I'm able to tell from my energy meter that I use like 300 kilowatt hour in a month time. Is there a way I can use any of the metrics to tell that my consumption in this particular month was, efficient or in line with these standardized metrics? So is there a way we can check our personal consumption with international standard, especially the EER or any of them outlined by the presenter? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, for that great submission on the questions. And of course, welcome to Nigeria virtually. We're happy to see someone from another country join us on the webinar. So to the first concern about, how do we transfer some cost benefit, or how do we ensure that the power supplier has some cost benefit in terms of, the kind of power they supply and their own system and processes. I think that this is something that we also need to jointly look at, either as the National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation, in providing advisory services to the government and to these power producers, probably carry out studies where we can say, okay, what do you currently use to produce your power? Are the turbines efficient? Are the electrical lines efficient? The conversions, are they as efficient as possible? So I thank you very much for bringing this up, because this is really a good angle to also look at going forward in the short term, to say, how do we ensure that the power supplier also produces or distributes their power in an efficient manner, such that the cost of production also on their own end is kind of reduced. And because, like you mentioned, if all the users take measures to reduce the energy consumption, it means that the bills that would need to go back to the producer would not be as much as he would like to have. So of course we can look at this from two angles: help the user understand why they need to reduce their energy, and also help the power supplier understand why they need to use energy efficient appliances and turbines or solar PV panels in their power production. But I think for Nigeria, it's unique, because our demand is at the moment higher than what we supply. So when the user is the one who is burdened with using energy efficient appliances, what this means is that if in cases of load shedding, for example, the people who would have been naturally cut off from power supply would then be able to get power supply because some other users in some other place are using less energy than they typically would because they are not using energy efficient appliances. But like you mentioned, it is good that we don't wait until we get to that point where, for example, energy supply is more than an energy demand. It would be nice for us to already begin to look at it and say, okay, how do we ensure that the energy producers, are efficient or they get some benefits for being efficient in their production process. But I think the Center for Energy Efficiency in Lagos here would look into this observation and would, of course, provide advisory services to the government to say we need to begin to look at how our energy is being produced and if we can provide incentives to the producers who can do this for us. Your second question about the energy efficiency ratio and how do we determine that after taking these measures that have been shared with us in this webinar, how do we measure, how do we know that we have gotten some improvement or some very good results from taking the measures? Um, from my own perspective, I would say that the first thing is to understand our business as usual. So if you look at your historical bills for the last, say, 1 year or 2 years before you took these measures, you could also just do a little plot to say, okay, I've used 400 kilowatt hour every month in the last, on average, in the last 2 years. But after I've taken energy efficient measures or energy conservation measures, my bill is now 300. So it's important to have like some baseline um, to fully understand, the progress we have achieved. But I would say that typically, if you have um, a meter within your household or business, and the power supply is quite constant, I think that at the end of the month, month on month, we can compare if there's been any improvement, and maybe if the meter is smart enough to also log the use, depending on how the distribution board is connected. If it has um, switches that are directly for HVACs and some for lighting and some for other appliances, then it's easy for us to have meters that can tell us, okay, on this line or this phase, this is how much we have consumed. And because we have properly labeled the appliances that are connected to those fuses, it's easy for us to determine that. But I think, again, like I said, this is also a very good question because everyone wants to know if the the measures they are taking are actually yielding the right results. So yes, definitely a very good thought. But like I said, once we understand our business as usual or our historical consumption, then we can compare this, with whatever we are using now after we have implemented energy efficiency measures. But thank you very much for the very brilliant questions and observations. And like I mentioned, the National Center for Energy Efficiency and Conservation will um, look into this and provide advice to the government on the best way to go about this. So thank you very much. I don't know if anybody on the call has any input to these questions, if they have any, added observation. Okay, so I have Mr. Batunde's hands. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. The question he asked about efficiency in terms of the producers, the power producers. Um, there are a lot that I've been thinking about when it comes to the national grid breaking down because there, we seem to downplay the aspect of people going off the grid using solar system and then maybe some batteries because as at the point times where we have raining season, I know last year that during the raining season period we had a lot of grid breakdown in Nigeria. So I was asking questions and they said there was a time where they had grid breakdown in Netherlands and it was because people were using solar system who were using solar system came back to the grid and there were a lot of demand that the grid couldn't bear. and as at that time they had the grid breakdown. So which means that coming back to Nigeria, we need to, because all other countries have been going smart grid, we are still, it's a developing country, we understand. But looking at that fact, we need to also look at a situation where we need to tighten up our policy. For example, if people have gone off the grid totally, when you want to come back to the grid, you need some certain approvals that should be given before you come back to the grid. So in that way, the grid can be well managed to know the number of people coming back to the grid, especially when the suppliers of the power are already losing funds because you are not part of the grid. They produce this grid for us to make sure, and they are also paying money, spending money to manage the grid. So if they are losing funds based on the fact that people are going off the grid, and then I believe that they should pay when they are coming back. It should be part of the policy. So I'm not sure if anybody has other contribution to this, but at least that's my own contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Batunde. This is very well noted. I think it's also something to look at from the research point of view to say, what does this mean for Nigeria? What's the implication if people go off the grid and start using solar systems, and after some time they want to return back to the grid? Is the system, robust enough to accommodate them without having any failure? So definitely yes, it's what considering. All right. So I don't know if there's any other contribution from the floor. All right. So thank you very much for joining the webinar. And thank you very much to our presenter, Mrs. Osariere Kedo, for the brilliant webinar session. We learned a lot. And of course, the questions and the interactions have also been very eye-opening, because now Mr. Babatunde is pointing us to, VRF gas-powered air conditioners. And Mr. Kelvin is also, showing us why we need to provide cost benefits to the power suppliers. And Mr. Charles Iguma has also informed us about the SER for Nigeria. So of course, we've learned a lot aside from the webinar itself, but also from the interactions and the contributions of all of you here. So we say a big thank you for joining and for your contributions, for listening, for spending a very valuable 1 hour with us. And we look forward to having more of these sessions. In the coming weeks, we'll have a session on energy management system. And in the coming weeks, we'll have a session on metering for educational institutions. So just follow ThinkyHearts on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, on X, and we'll be sure to put in all the information on all the webinars that are coming up in the coming weeks and months. So thank you again for joining, and we wish you a lovely day ahead. Bye for now.
Bye.